What is up, everyone? Back in the shop, back to work. You know the deal.
Back at it again.
Back at it again. You think I would like
black vans,
black skinnies, black t-shirt. Yeah, you know. You think I would plan the? No, we just turned the camera on. So, boom. Last video we gave away the big surprise of the LS3. The not big surprise, right? LS8 supercharger, LS3. It's gonna bark. It's gonna make a lot of power. It is super cool. We gotta pull the engine back out because we will be adding a oil baffling in the oil pan and a support for pickup tube, so we have, well, hopefully no oil sloshing issues. But while Spoon does that, I want to get to work on the Porsche engine because there's some stuff we got to finalize, and we don't have much time today, so we're going to get to work right now. So let's go check that out. So a couple videos ago, you guys saw me reassemble a big chunk of the 964's engine, right? We did the timing, we did all the new covers and stuff, a bunch of new pretty stuff, and the engine's looking
incredible.
It looks like, I keep looking, I'm proud of myself on this one. We still have a lot to do, and we're gonna try and tackle most of that today and get as much done as we can. I got the intake mocked up with the painted throttle body, and I think it looks absolutely incredible. But today, what I wanna focus on and talk a little more about is actually modernizing our 964 engine, right? This is 1991 engine. It's a little old. Porsche's like first time doing like real EFI, right? Because we could say like the 930s were EFI, but they were kind of not really. They were mechanical, whatever, right? So I want to get this thing on a standalone, right? We can't just have this on the stock Porsche ECU. We got to put a link on it. That's what we do. Put a link on everything, so I have maximum control over everything. We can make the car do exactly what I want. And so when I throw a turbo on this thing, she's ready. Today, we're gonna try to piece together a bunch of parts to, well, make this thing ready for a full standalone. And I think we should get right after it. After I show off my tins, because I got them powder coated, look how good they look. That's sick. This is like the stuff that wraps around the end. Remember that little cradle? They were crusty. We got them blasted and coated. They look brand new, which is good because these are very expensive. So happy just a couple dollars on powder coating. It will make them look brand new. So let's get to work. There wasn't a lot of information on this stuff, to be honest, so I'm kind of winging it. There might be better ways to do things. Who knows? This is my research. I pieced this whole stuff together. Whatever. I'm not a Porsche guy until now. Porsche. We're getting there. What do we need to put a standalone on an engine, right? There's a couple sensors that you're gonna wanna have. Crank sensor and cam sensor, very important, right? TPS, very important. Coolant temp sensors, obviously you need your injectors, you need your coils, you need all of that stuff. And well, everything this engine doesn't come with, we will be installing. And the first thing I wanna talk about is probably the important stuff is the cam and crank sensor, right? So originally the 964 has this distributor right here, this dual distributor, right? It's a single distributor that drives a belt that drives another distributor, because Porsche thought it was a really good idea to throw six, don't show that yet, 6 spark plugs in this thing on each side. So 12 spark plugs total, 2 per cylinder. Crazy. I don't know who was in the 80s was like, yo, we need better spark. Let's just add more spark plugs. Screw that guy, because that kind of sucks, but that's what we're working with here. So my goal is to get rid of this ugly distributor, right? This looks old, it's hideous. I guess some guys probably like it because it just looks Porsche.
It looks period correct.
Period correct, but yeah, I'm not into that. So today we will be, the first thing we're gonna start off with is basically getting rid of this. And well, how do we do that, you might ask? We need a crank sensor and we need a cam sensor, right? Technically factory, this thing comes with a crank sensor, which is pretty cool. It is hanging out right here. So this bolts over here, and this actually has a pickup wheel on the flywheel. Check it out. The new flywheel I bought actually is machined in with a 60-2, right? So there's 60 teeth on here, and it's missing 2. Right here. You see it? So the ECU will count these teeth, and when it sees the 2 missing teeth, it knows where the engine is, right? That's where it knows where the crank is. But now we need to know where the damn cam is. So I found this kit online that actually adds a cam sensor on the driver's side to cam. So let's install this thing. So this piece right here that holds our new cam sensor actually bolts on the back of the head. This is super cool. If you look from the factory, there's a freeze plug in it, but these bolts are here, the holes here, like, it's almost like they're ready for it. So the first thing I have to do is actually pull out this freeze plug. I probably should have did that before I put the covers on, but yeah, whatever. There's a bunch of different ways to remove a freeze plug. This one I'm gonna try to punch a hole through it first. We don't do any drilling, but if we have to do drilling, it's not bad because it's all concealed in the inside. There we go. I'm gonna take a self-tapper, see if we can get it to grab onto the freeze plug. Let's see if that bit on enough. I need one of those slide hammer things, you know? That would be smart. Let's see if we get lucky with this. Actually, do we have that slide hammer thing?
Oh, yeah. Look at that one.
This is my pallet bearing tool. Will this work? It's coming.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah. There's less crude ways to do that, but that wasn't too bad. All right, so now we have this to replace the freeze plug, right? So this will mount right to the head, off these 3 bolts. You see it? They line up. And then this will then hold the sensor, and it looks OEM. How sick is that? The only problem is we don't have anything on the cam that passes the sensor to basically tell it where the cam is, right? So we're gonna have to make one. All right, so we're gonna take this little punch here, and we're gonna mark the center of this hole, which is a little scary. Center punching my camshaft, it's fine. Now we have to drill and tap the cam.
That's scary.
Yeah. We're gonna drill and tap the cam, then we're gonna put a bolt in there, and then the bolt will be the thing that passes past the sensor to tell the ECU where the hell the camshaft is. Some old ECUs, you need to mark location of where the cam is. Most modern ECUs will self-locate the cam based off of the crank sensor, so keep that in mind. So the kit calls to drill 18 millimeters. 18 millimeters?
So you have that marked with tape?
Yeah, 18 millimeters. Let me just reread that. Drill and tap the marked location on the camshaft, 18 millimeters deep. That's great. I guess we're drilling 18 millimeters into the cam. We're gonna assume the cam lobe is really deep and trust the process. Luckily this is all sealed, so we can kind of make a mess of metal and not have to worry about it. So we have our center punch line. Make sure I drill straight.
No hezzy.
No hezzy, zero hezzy around these parts. I wish like a year ago me could see this, just like, oh, beautiful 964 engine, just drilling into the camshaft on the table that used to be in the...
This used to be our lunch table.
Yeah. I don't know what would I be more surprised about, me doing this or me putting LS in my E36. Life is all about growth, you know? That's a lot of camshaft. Weight reduction, boys. All right, so now we take our tap and we're gonna tap what we just drilled, right? So we can put a bolt in there, which will be the locating bolt. So we'll get that set up, but I hear Spoon's got the LS out already, and so we're gonna do a quick intermission and do some LS content. Any oil in this thing? Okay, a little bit of oil for shipping.
It'll be like assembly lube somewhere.
There we go. And of course, guys, we have a special guest in the house, Guy Maxwell from New Zealand.
Hey team, sorry I'm a bit flat. It's been 30 hours since I've had some sleep, so hello, welcome.
If you guys remember Maxwell from my New Zealand trip, he housed me.
Yeah.
Put me up in a car.
Now it's his turn to look after us, and I get to crash his car.
Whoa. He'll be in the videos helping us this week, having fun, so
Say hello.
say hello.
Hey team.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little bit of RTV in the front for the front timing cover.
You got a new gasket, right?
Yeah, I got a new gasket. There we go.
You got
There's a little bit of baffling from the factory.
Oh, you're gonna make it.
Oh, I got it.
You're gonna,
Oh, what? Oh, my bad. I forgot that was open. Okay, so there actually is a couple quarts in this thing from assembly. So I just wanted to show this on screen because if I didn't do it, you guys would say I didn't do it. So factory baffling isn't that good, right? When you're sloshing the car on the track, back and forth, oil will go on one side or the other. They sell an upgraded baffling that has trap doors to prevent oil from going away from the pickup tube on heavy acceleration and cornering, right? No trap doors, trap doors. So it lets oil go in, but not out, right? Boom. That with maybe an extra quart in there should do the trick for us. The only other thing that a lot of LS guys do is they get the support brackets right here. Really cheap piece. Yep, that's it. Slips right in. We got some more oiling mods coming, but for now I just wanted to put that out. This is a good $250 upgrade for any car being spiritedly driven. Right here might be a little hard to see. You see the pickup tube, it's only bolted on by one bolt. You see that? But there's actually another bolt right up here. It's a pain in the ass to get to, but Chevy used one bolt you had a bolt right next to you, why not use it? And so they sell this piece right here that acts as like a washer. So you could use this to bolt down your pickup tube in 2 different locations instead of it just in one, and these will tend to snap right here, and then boom, your pickup tube no longer is getting full suction force, low oil pressure, no one's happy.
Easy.
Truck to spec. So while they seal that back up, we're gonna tap this so we can put a bolt in there. Crazy. Now we have this little nut right here. There's literally just gonna screw into the cam, hopefully. This is a little bit of the tricky part, right? Because now this bolt that is in there, if you can see it, has to be at the perfect tolerance to the sensor, right? It needs to be kind of like just under 1 millimeter. Since we can't put it in and measure because there's no access window to this chamber, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the depth of this, add our clearance, and then try to make that up difference with this. That makes sense, right? So take the base of the sensor. It's not the best way of doing it, but there is some wiggle room for this. About 24 millimeters. If we add just a hair to it, lock it out, and if you look at it, see how it counts for that little bit of gap right there? That's where we need that bolt to be sitting. And off the rip, it's like right there. The kit is, you know, it's made for this. You still gotta check it.
It's still just a little scary.
You still gotta check it. All right, so we should be good to go off the rip. We're gonna pull that back out. We're gonna Loctite it so it can't fall out, and then assemble it all. And then the sensor. Boom. That looks OEM too, which is pretty cool. Now we cam and crank sensor. Now we can run sequential spark and sequential ejection. So if you notice this side in the back of this head, the cam is very similar, but it sticks out farther. So if you guys remember, originally this had a gear on it that actually drove the power steering pump, which the power steering pump now is in the back and not in the front, right? Weird Porsche thing. None of my power steering system works. All the lines are bad, the rack's bad, like everything's bad. And I was actually pushed by a lot of 964 owners to actually keep no power steering. A lot of guys say it keeps kind of the feel and the spirit alive in the chassis. This thing has 10-inch wheels in the front, and I don't think any of us have been like, damn, it needs power steering.
No, it's really not that bad.
It's not bad at all. So we got this, which basically just gets rid of all that nonsense, and now it just caps it. Just like, ready? Just like that, boom. Power steering deleted, get rid of all the bracketry, keep it simple, gone. So now we can basically get rid of this whole distributor. So we have this big ass hole right here. So I decided we could just fill it with a freeze plug. I was tempted to make a nice bolt-in bracket or something, but a freeze plug, if this actually is the right size, that'd be too easy, right? Boom, there we go. Hole is sealed. Now oil won't be splashing out of there. So now, since we got rid of the distributor, we have nothing to fire the spark plugs, right? So that leads me into some more modern tech is, well, welcome to the 20th century, smart coils, right? So I was hoping someone made like a nice smart coil conversion kit for this thing. No one really did. The only thing I could find was this kit that makes these tabs that hold these things in place, and they were asking like $150 per coil. They Porsche taxi so bad.
12 of
There's
them?
12 of them, right? They wanted like 150 per
Oh my
12,
God.
right? Porsche tax, and you could clearly tell from the photo it's a Yaris coil, right? It's just a Toyota Yaris coil, which is a very common smart coil. You know, it's no GTR coil, but it'll be plenty. And so these things are gonna slip in. They stick out a little bit, but they should be good. I don't remember how well this fit in the car, so I'm really curious if these things are gonna be a pain in the ass to get out in the car. I don't think so. I think it'll be fine.
I don't think so.
We will be upgrading this whole thing to Toyota Yaris coils. Look at that, baby. The future's now. This kit is like actually for a 930, but it kind of works on this. I wish I could have found a coil that sat a little bit deeper, but this is one of the shorter ones.
That's a small sacrifice for not having the distributor right here.
And 2 distributors with a bunch of wires running over it.
Yeah.
I was even thinking about using like a JZ coil that has like a module and 2 little wires that come out of it, but we're gonna keep it simple. Yaris coils. See how it does for us. Remember how I said they were charging like 125 or like 150 for these coils? These things are like 40 bucks brand new a piece, if not cheaper, but really cheap. They just look a little funny because they stick out like that. But I think it'll be fine in the car. We're gonna find out. I mean, a lot of stuff I'm doing right here is new to me, and I don't see it done a lot, so we're gonna be a little bit of a guinea pig on this one. So it's not the highest end, most elegant bracketry out there, but just trying to basically compile a system that will modernize this thing. It's been a little difficult because there's not a lot of information on it, and I kind of piece all this stuff together. And obviously I'd love to make a bracket for this thing. I'd love to actually spend some time to see if we can make something nicer for it. I just bought this purely out of time constraint. But this bolt on here replaces the bolt here, and then this will bolt and hold it down like that. So it's not bad. It's not bad, but I would love a nice billet bracket or something like that. Maybe do some more research, because I don't see a lot of Porsche guys doing this stuff, and so I'm kind of feel like I'm in open waters right now. And I should have found some shops to talk to, but it's been kind of fun, kind of just like bringing my own twist to this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't hate it, but I'm definitely not wooed by it. So all these are clamped down. They're all pretty good. I don't hate it. I just think it's a little half-assed of a design. This one I actually bent it and bolted it to it because it had no backing to it to really hold the coil in, versus these are all kind of just being prevented from coming out, right? Because they're all pretty solid. I'm gonna take some measurements, and I think we're gonna come up with better designs for this thing for later, but I actually forgot that when they sold these kits, they only give you 6 at a time, which I think is stupid. So I had to order another set. But this side's done, you can get an idea. And actually, it doesn't look bad. I think it's pretty cool. Smart coils, smart idea. Continuing on with trying to modernize this engine, the next piece of the puzzle we have here is a TPS conversion, because originally these things don't have a throttle positioning sensor, right? It basically just had a sensor that said it was either shut or open. And with the standalone, you want TPS, so the ECU knows what you're doing, right? It helps with idle functions, cruising functions, decel functions. It's very important, so we need it. So, found this online. Let's see if we can make it work. It looks like this is meant to just bolt on over here. So I think we're gonna pry this off. Try not to scratch my freshly painted throttle body. Oh, I love that. So our new sensor, I don't know what this is off of. It's probably just like a generic Bosch sensor off some type of Volkswagen. It'll, see how it's also half mooned like that? This should sit like there, and then when the throttle moves, it'll move the sensor on the inside, and then boom, we have a TPS. Because all this is a little dial that goes back and forth that measures from 0 volts to 5 volts. And that bases your throttle position, and boom, easy. You can take this will bolt right on using existing threads in the throttle body, which is sick. The sensor. Make sure it doesn't bind. There you go. So I know you can't see it, but the rod that's coming through is now rotating the sensor inside the TPS, and now you'll be able to calibrate that into the ECU and have throttle position. Okay, so next step of modernizing this old ass engine is changing this from a V-belt. You see that? That's like a tractor. It's a fucking V-belt. It's a Porsche. Come on, boys. It's V-belt driven. I want to change it to a ribbed serpentine belt right here. So as you can tell, as I was test fitting everything, we have basically a new crank pulley, right? So this new crank pulley now has a 6 ribbed serpentine belt, like a modern car should have. And then it does have a V-belt on the outside, the dirty little V-belt right here for the AC compressor.
This car is going to have AC.
It will have AC.
Okay. Good,
yeah. Have you noticed, like, the last few cars we built, we put AC in besides the track car? But AC has been
that doesn't count.
Yeah, we've changed around here, right? New me. We'll see.
One Porsche.
Yeah, one Porsche. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna try and make it work. So, it also simplifies a couple of the components on the front, which I don't even have to show you anymore because I threw it all away. But let's get this all bolted up so you guys can see how nice it looks. So the first thing we have to do is make room for our new tensioner, because now we have a really nice spring-loaded tensioner, a modern tensioner. You see this? Problem is, there's nowhere to mount this, so it's got to make a custom bracket for it. Which, when we go to bolt it up, actually hits part of the case right here. So we get to cut into the case, which is sick. It's literally just this little bit right here. You see that? This little triangle right here, so it sits flush. Very minimal. I just drilled into the cam and banged a freeze plug into the case. Like, if you're a Porsche guy, you've already shut the video off. Spoon would love this. Look at that. That's all we needed, boys. That's it. There we go. Perfect fit. They'll never know. All right, so this thing, we just get to slip this thing on. We're just gonna mock this up in the meantime. And it actually hits, does it hit that bolt? Don't tell me it hit that bolt. Is it gonna when it compresses it? No, it's not gonna hit it.
Are you sure?
Just one of these. at it. Clears by a mile, bro. All right, where's that stupid crank bolt? So I've realized that the kit doesn't come with a new crank bolt, so we're gonna put this in here just as a placeholder in the meantime, right? So what we get to do now is probably one of the biggest changing parts of the whole engine, and that is reassemble the whole fan assembly, right? It's been kind of a cluster of actions here, but this is the piece we've had mocked up, which is the iconic Porsche engine look, right? So this is the housing, right? This is the outer housing. This is also magnesium. Huge pain in the ass. It corrodes really fast, but we got it recoated. I just went with satin black. I think it's a nice offset color. This piece and the fan itself is like the staple of your engine, right? So like picking the colors on these are pretty dramatic because this is what's gonna, you know, right, set the tone of everything. So satin black is a safe one. What's crazy about this is the fan housing, right? So this is the piece that all the air comes through to help cool down the engine block, since these are air cooled, right? That's why the heads are so thin. That's why there's a big shredder on the engine. Air gets sucked in through here, right? The fan's driven by the Serpentine belt, but not only that, this also houses the alternator, which is pretty crazy. I've never seen this before, right? So I think this is pretty interesting. The Porsche alternator, which is the most overpriced alternator on the freaking planet. Ouch, you know? My other one was pretty shot. This one doesn't feel too good. What the fuck? Needs a break-in. No, this is just really strong magnets. Holy shit.
It better be good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna send, you can get alternators rebuilt pretty decently cheap, so I'm gonna rebuild my whole one.
Was this one refurbed or?
I don't know, it was just.
It better be brand new.
It was a lot of money, and it was really hard to find. They're never in stock. So this just slips in right through here, I think, if I recall. Boom, just like that. Look at that. How crazy is that?
It's nuts.
It's cool though, right?
Yeah.
Like they
Dual purpose.
They took what space they had and they made it work. They don't have an alternator, power steering pump, AC condenser. They just simplified it all. They're like, this thing's already spinning. Might as well make it charge or something too, right? So I just realized to finalize this, we actually have to do a couple of things at the same time. So running the wires is a big part of it because we have to run the wires through the shroud, then bolt them to the alternator itself, and then cover the alternator, right? So I didn't think I was at that part yet. I didn't start figuring wiring out. So I kind of freaked out and just did this real quick. So this is what I'll be utilizing. We'll talk about it later. I just literally had like a minute to figure this out. So this is the stuff that we'll be utilizing the alternator, basically the main power, 2 grounds. I'll figure out what this wire is. We actually need to run this through the shroud. Don't worry guys, I'm gonna do a whole video on wiring, so either you're dreading that or you're gonna be excited for it. All right, we needed another set of hands, but while awesome hell this, I had to get all the wires on the fan itself. We're gonna take this lid and it's gonna cover the wires and it's gonna hold the alternator to the housing. All right, so let's just, all right, we're sealed up. Let's get this thing mounted. Steph? Now this thing should hopefully be able to mount for good. There we go, kind of just clicks into place. It's crazy that it literally just like kind of dowels into place here, and then this strap just holds it down. That's it, that's all we got. So now is the final stable piece of the engine, and that is the cooling fan itself. Now this cooling fan obviously does the air pulling through the entire air-cooled engine, but this also attaches to the snout of the alternator, and that's what spins the alternator. But this brand new alternator has some drag to it, so we're gonna hope that wears in. So if this thing starts for the first time and is whining, it's not my fault, it's just stupid.
That's why.
This thing is going to be a tight fit in here, so hopefully I can wind this up.
Oh, so it's just a press on.
Yeah, so it presses in and then it bolts on. You guys already seen it, it's this gunmetal. I thought it was a really good look in here. I thought it matched out of the car. Magnesium, so you gotta get them coated, but this literally is like, this sets the whole tone of your whole engine compartment, right? So pick a cool color.
Says the man that went with gray.
Look at the car!
I know, I'm just kidding.
But you know what? I saw a lot of like old 930s and stuff of these dudes that just have like bright red ones and like
it's too much.
And it's just too much. The early 2000s when everyone painted everything monster green. You know, remember that era?
We should put monster green stripes down the side of the.
Does that line up?
Nice.
Almost there. Got it bolted on, Loctited. All right. Look how much nicer the Serpentine belt looks versus the V belt. Come on, look at the colors.
That's sick.
I love it. So now this.
Match it all together.
Hopefully this shim is correct. We're gonna find out. And if this, clean the shaft up a little bit. Come on. Ooh. No. Okay. The fan's on. The crank pulley. I still gotta get a new bolt, but it's on there. Now we can take our tensioner, which is in this pile of parts right here. You see this? Still very curious. This probably came off of a Dodge Caravan or something. Look at this thing. To finalize our whole project here, Loctite, why not? See it? Oh man, I think it touches the crank pulley. This is gonna be a really tight tensioner. Tension, oh my God. Spoon, you're going crazy over there. All right, release it slowly. Oh, nice. Look at it.
Nice.
Oh, modern engineering. Don't you love it?
2023 Porsche.
Heck. Like, oh, this thing's simple. It's going fast. It's a lot of work. Like, we still have so much to do. Put the tins that wrap around the entire engine right here. We still gotta mount this with the engine brace up. Still gotta do all the vacuum lines for this. I'm gonna flex this real quick. This is also made by Redline, the guys who made the covers for us. Or not for us, but they make the covers. We bought them, they're sick. This is a new engine mount bracket. You know, so this is what bolted to the face of the engine. And then this is where the engine mount goes. So this is all tubular, thicker steel, gusseted. This thing looks sick. And you won't even tell it's not OEM, it just looks upgraded, right? So when it comes to mechanical modernization of the engine, we're pretty much there. There's a couple more things we could do. There's a couple more sensors we could add, but we'll probably end up doing that when we do the wiring. The wiring's gonna be a big part of this because we'll be kind of moving things around and converting a lot of things. But the last piece I wanna add to modernize this engine is to throw a set of modern injectors in the thing, right? Old injectors, we have these old EV1 style injectors right here. They're gross. I mean,
crusty.
You might think your car's running and then you take it apart and they look like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, not good. So, we got a brand new set of DW700cc injectors for the Porsche. So now, not only is the electronics gonna be modernized, the fuel system will be too. I still have to clean up all the fuel components, so we don't have time to put it in today, but boom, that easy. And there we go, boys. That's how we bring a 1991 Porsche 964 engine into, well, 20th century. Alright boys, I hate to finish the video without fully finishing what I want to do today, but big chunk is done. It is getting there. Now there's a lot of tidying up, hose clamps, random hose and stuff like that, and then the wire harness we're gonna do a whole video on, but we're getting there. We're getting there. And I hope you did learn a lot today. We did a lot of modification, and I'm really excited to see how this thing runs once we can actually get a true standalone on it and get full control of the engine, get its maximum potential at it versus that old clunky mouse and pinwheel computer that was in there. So for now, thank you guys for watching. You know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. We'll see you guys very shortly.